So me being a fan, to me, I put you with the likes of like Herbie Hancock, you know, Robert Glasper, one of your peers. That's music that I love. Thundercat. So for me, it was like, how do I even bring my style to this? Where did that type of style start for you? Coming from LA here, it's so. I mean, there's so many different styles, but it's like funk and soul. And where did that start, or what? Man, what gave you that spark to start that?
Man, my earliest influences for music is the gangbang culture. Gangbang culture in my area is close to is car culture, gangbang culture.
Real LA,
gangsters, dope dealing, and everything. Because the dope dealers and the gangsters were the celebrities in my community, as in every inner city community. Yeah. Those meant more to me than the Batmans and Robins, and even those meant more to me than the athletes. That meant like everybody else was in the athletes. I was into just knowing what dude ran from the police and got away, or what dude had all the bread and made sure his family was straight, or you know what I'm saying. So that culture is heavily driven by music. Gangbang culture in the communities are really driven by art. There's a lot of art. There's music, you know, and the struggle, and people attach feelings with art and everything. So I grew up seeing in one car the Cutlass on D's would be playing Eazy-E Boys in the Hood. I'm seeing one car the Impala would be playing the Dramatics. I'm seeing in one car he would have a mixtape and he'd be playing like Freddie Hubbard shit when Freddie Hubbard was on a label called CTI Records. That I later found out what was what identified. So in my neighborhood or in LA, it was never no one kind of music always played.
Yeah.
Now my cousin may have played hip hop, my mom playing gospel, but one of the biggest, most notorious gangsters in the hood, he playing Blue Magic, the Dramatics, the OJs, Betty Wright, Earth, Wind and Fire. You know what I'm saying? Then my other homeboy was playing Steely Dan. So my musical influence comes from the gangbang culture, because the gangbang culture, to me, is the most versatile musical culture I've ever heard in my life. Because if you know any real, in my era, but the gangster dudes didn't play gangster rap. They played R&B music, because most of the gangsters was players, and they wanted to hang with the pretty girls. And you couldn't get the pretty girls playing fuck you motherfucker in the car. You had to play player shit.
Yep.
And I love women. I love women. I love women. I thank God for women, what they brought us into this world. I thank God for loving them. I love making love to women. You feel me?
Yeah.
You know, everything about the woman I love about the woman, man. And women love melodies. They love chords. They love things. And I want to please women, because without women, we not here. Nope. So I want to please women. So the chords and the melodies. So that's why I'm saying I'm inspired more by life. If that's what's driving life, you know, I'm not looking at the gangster who drive the car. I'm looking at his soundtrack is what he's playing. He's playing Betty Wright. He's playing Mrs. Jones.
Yeah.
Mrs. Jones. Before I played music, I knew these songs. You know, 100%. You think your party's jumping and you're having a good time. You know what's going through my mind. That's by Blue Bland, Down Home Blues. I learned blues records through gangbang culture. You feel me?
Yeah.
So my music today is still the representation of how I grew up learning all these things. You know, one of my biggest inspirations in life is Quincy Jones. I didn't meet Quincy Jones playing the saxophone. I met Quincy Jones because Snoop Dogg introduced me to Quincy Jones. You see? So my whole shit is patent off of whatever of kings and queens out of the inner city. So my music is really, I'm catering my music to just to give the kings and queens in the inner city strength. That my music is only for them.
100%.
And whoever picks it up. But my music is people that just need
directly
strength.
The voice. Yep, the voice of the people.
Strength.
Man.
Yeah, I'm not trying to, well, I'm not trying to stunt my growth or put me in a box. I'll say that.
Yeah.
So I'm open for everything, but my direct message is for people that need a message. Yep. You know, so in that I can't have one kind of music. I gotta have different kind of music. So that's why when I got you and I see everybody that you inspired, I said, man, he inspired. I want to get that message across over there too, and maybe his power could get that message across over here, then maybe we could make this motherfucker feel like what they lied and told us America was supposed to be like.
100%.
You dig what I'm saying?
I think that's the bridge, man. Cause you talking about oldies, R&B type shit.
That's the bridge, bro.
That's like that's some of the first English music that I would ever hear. Is like that old shit, bro.
Tell
like,
me about that, man. Like, what was your first song? Okay, when did you first start speaking English?
When I was 5.
Okay.
So I was already. I mean, obviously, I was born and raised in America, but I didn't know English yet. I would go to my grandma's house, only speaking Spanish. The first time I listened to rap, my dad used to break dance in the 80s. So he was, but I didn't know that this was hip hop yet. You know what I'm saying? So he showed me Africa Bambaataa, Planet Rock. I'm like 8 maybe, and I'm like, this shit is fucking hard, but it didn't sound like hip hop today. Yeah. So I didn't make that connection. I thought, oh, this is like techno or something crazy. Watching movies, old movies, bro, like Beat Street, fucking Breaking 2.
Oh, you hard.
I got really into popping and locking, and I like that hip hop world. So that was my first introduction with shit like that, the Adidas, and then came but I didn't make that connection, bro, till years later, till I understood, this is the genesis of hip hop, where it comes from, the Bronx, New York, and shit.
Yeah. And
then later making the connection, this is 50 Cent, somebody that I love, real young, or fucking Snoop Dogg, and I'm like, that turned into this, like, you know. So going back, doing my research, studying what this really was. So that's just, for me, that's why I always loved it. And my dad accidentally showed me hip hop real early, man. So
I love that.
I think that's how I fell in love with it.
That's simple. Yeah, that's deep. I remember the first day. I met hip hop. I remember the first day. We used to live on 118th and Crenshaw, and this is in the 80s. This is like in the mid 80s. This is when this is before they built a freeway called the 105 freeway.
Yeah.
Right. So we was actually one of the families they paid to move to build the 105 freeway, and that back then that was a neighborhood called the IVCs, Imperial Village Crips. And we lived on 118th and Crenshaw on my daughter's house. We lived on 118th and Crenshaw. And I remember across the street, we lived on a corner. It was Bennett Q Elementary, and everybody from that neighborhood would fellowship over this one cat's house, lived across the street from our house.
Yeah.
And that's how I heard hip hop, because he would play it. They would stay home, get to school, and play music. And I remember some of the early records I heard was like Biz Markie, Picking Boogers, BDP, the J, the I, the M, the Y is Jimmy, and my 9mm. And it was like, my first seeing hip hop was gangsters playing New York rap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was my first thing, man. And then just how I heard all the soulful records, that's how I heard hip hop ushered into my life. Through that, and then through that, realizing it was the music of my time. My cousin was a DJ. And just fell in love with it, man. My first record I bought an album. My first time buying an album was an album called Christmas Rap in 1988, 89 or 88, from the Rhodium Swap Meet, a dude named Steve Yano, Rhodium Swap Meet. And he gave me Christmas Rap, and then he said, since you bought this record, little man, I was a kid, maybe second grade, bro. He said, you bought this record, I'm gonna give you another record. Guess what the other record was? It was a red label, said Ruthless Records, said Easy E, Boys in the Hood.
What?
I didn't realize that just 2 days ago, my cousin picked me up from the Greyhound bus station. Her and her boyfriend, she was a fine young thing, and she liked all the dope dealers, as a lot of the cats did. They liked all the dope dealers, a lot of the young ladies. And he had a Suzuki Samurai with Dayton's. And I remember that's when I first heard the remix, The Boys in the Hood first. That's what they played first. And they picked us up from the Greyhound bus station, and he had 415s in the trunk. And I never heard the power of that. I remember me hearing woke up quick at about noon, just thought that I had to be in Compton soon. And it made me feel powerful to hear that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Made me feel powerful.
That's like, boom, right? Neighborhood right there.
Right, it made me feel, man, you know, and I fell in love with Easy E. Like years later when I fell in love with John Coltrane, the same way. Same exact feeling. No different. Same feeling.
Hey, wait, what we doing today? No, sir. Bro, you so lame. Let's get lit then. Fucking CAILE. Get my money right. Be a minute till we get it. Shit ain't overnight. They said everything on me. I wait. Fuck it, CAILE. Ain't too much to celebrate, but toast up to the night.